Hey everyone, I am going to read the last 3 chapters of the War of 1812. Okay, so chapter 11 starts with our national anthem. Okay, our national anthem is a special patriotic song. Many countries have a national anthem. People sing a national anthem to show they are proud of their country. In the United States, our national anthem is the Star-Spangled Banner. The words to this song were written by Francis Scott Key during the War of 1812. The song describes what Key saw during the attack on Fort McHenry. After the attack, he saw the U.S. flag, or in his words, the Star-Spangled Banner. And the caption down here says an old poster about the Star-Spangled Banner. We sing the Star-Spangled Banner before baseball games and other sporting events. We sing it on holidays like the 4th of July. We sing it on special days when we gather together. Sometimes we sing it at school. We sing it to show that we care about our country. In the United States, we always stand when we sing or hear the national anthem. If you are playing or talking and you hear this song, you should stop what you are doing and stand to your feet and put your hand over your heart. You should stand still and look at the flag until the song is over. You should never talk or giggle or fool around during the national anthem. And here's a picture. It says, one way to show respect for our flag is to place your right hand on your heart, like the people are doing at the baseball game. During the national anthem, you will see men taking off their hats. You may also see soldiers saluting. This man is saluting in the picture. They salute by bringing their right hand to their head or to the tip of their hat. Also, the flag should never touch the ground. There are all ways of showing respect for the U.S. flag and pride in our country. And the caption says, this is a soldier saluting the American flag. Did you know that the Star-Spangled Banner was written by Francis Scott Key? But did you know that it was not always our national anthem? In fact, it took more than 100 years for it to become our national anthem. When it was first written, the Star-Spangled Banner was not a song. It was a poem. A little later, people took the words and set them to music. They sang the words to a tune that was popular at the time. Do you ever change the words to a song you know? Do you ever change? That's what people did with the Star-Spangled Banner. They took an old tune and gave it different words. Soon, lots of people were singing the Star-Spangled Banner. It was a big hit. And here's a picture. It says this image shows deaf students singing or signing the Star-Spangled Banner. It was taken in Ohio around 1920. The Star-Spangled Banner became a popular national song. People all over the nation liked to sing it. But they also liked to sing lots of other songs. And we still sing some of them today. Do you know Yankee Doodle? What about My Country 'Tis of Thee? Have you ever sung America the Beautiful? They are all patriotic songs that we sing to show how we feel about our country. If you went to a big state dinner at the White House 100 years ago, the band might have played the Star-Spangled Banner, or it might have played Yankee Doodle, or My Country 'Tis of Thee. At that time, the United States did not have a national anthem. It was a set of national songs. Then, in 1931, Congress made the Star-Spangled Banner the national anthem. The Star-Spangled Banner is sung to show that we love our country. It is one of the things that unite us as a people, so when you sing it with pride. And this picture shows some of the songs we just talked about. It said until 1931, the United States did not have a national anthem. It has lots of patriotic songs. Okay, chapter 12. Making sense of the national anthem. Francis Scott Key wrote the Star-Spangled Banner almost 200 years ago. There are some old words in the poem. Some parts can be hard to understand. Let's look at the words and try to make sense of them. On the next page is the first verse of the song, the part that we sing before a sporting event. Can you read it 2 or 3 times? So it says, "Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, his broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, or the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof that through the night our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?" And then it says, or, this part right here, it says it is short for the word over. So on the part where it says, or the land of the free and the home of the brave, it's saying over. So it's talking about all of it. To make sense of the Star-Spangled Banner, it helps to think about what Francis Scott Key was doing the night he wrote it. Francis Scott Key was watching the attack on Fort McHenry. In the poem, he describes the attack as a perilous fight. That means it was a dangerous battle. During the battle, Key kept his eye on Fort McHenry. In the poem, he mentions the ramparts or walls of the fort. But what Key talks about the most is the U.S. flag that he could see flying over the fort. Key says the flag is spangled or dotted with stars. He also talks about its broad stripes. When the wind blows, Key says these stripes blow back and forth. They look like they are streaming or rippling in the air. Have you ever seen a flag look that way? And this is a picture of the flag. In the poem, Key describes 3 different times when he looked for the flag. First, he tells about how he looked at the flag at the twilight's last gleaming, or just at sunset. Since it was not dark yet, Key could see. He saw that the flag was still flying over the fort. That was good. It means that the troops had not given up. Key tells us that he also looked at the flag at night. You might think he would not be able to see much at night, but Key explains that the rocket's red glare and the bombs bursting in air lit up the night sky. These flashes of light helped him see. They gave him proof that the flag was still flying. Key looked for the flag again just before dawn. This time, he could not see. Remember, the attack on Fort McHenry had stopped just before dawn. There were no more bombs bursting in air. There was no more rocket's red glare. It was dark. Was the flag still flying? Had the troops in the fort given up? Or had the British? In the time before the sun rose, Key did not know. At that time, he had lots of questions, but not a lot of answers. look back at the words Key wrote, do you see the question marks? Let's look back real quick. You see at the end of the sentences where there are question marks? There are 3 of them. An important thing to understand about our national anthem is that it starts with a set of questions. In the first line, Key asks the question, "Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?" Wow, that's a long sentence. Suppose we broke it up into shorter sentences and used simpler words. Then it would sound like this. The sun is coming up. Tell me, my friend, can you see the flag? Remember, we saw it last night at sunset. Now the night has passed. Is it still there? And this might be Francis Scott Key on the boat watching and asking this question. In the last lines of the song, Key asks another question. He says, "Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave, or the land of the free and the home of the brave?" The star-spangled banner is the American flag. The land of the free and the home of the brave is what Key calls his country. It's another name for the United States. So Key is really asking the same thing he asked before. He is asking, is our flag still waving? Key asks these questions, but it might seem like he never answers them. In fact, if you ever get a chance to read the rest of the poem, you will see that Key answers his own questions a little later. There is a part later in the poem where he says, "Yes, the flag is still flying, hooray!" But that is part of the poem that we don't sing very much. Most of the time, we only sing the part with the questions. We don't sing the part with the answers. So the next time you sing or hear the national anthem, think of Francis Scott Key. Think of him watching the bombs bursting over Fort McHenry. Think of him checking on the flag and wondering if it's still flying. If you keep your eyes on the flag during the song, you will be doing just what Francis Scott Key was doing that long night. This is the rest of the poem. I am not going to read it to you today, but you can pause the screen and read over it. I'm going to move on to chapter 13. Chapter 13 is about Dooley Madison. If you remember, during our read aloud times, we talked about Dooley Madison, and she is the wife of James Madison, who was the 4th president of the United States. So let's read about Dooley Madison. Dooley Payne Madison was the wife of the 4th president of the United States, James Madison. The president's wife is called the First Lady. Dooley Madison was the most famous first ladies in history. Dooley Madison was born Dooley Payne in 1768. She had 4 brothers and 3 sisters. When she was just a little girl, she and her family had a very simple life. They belonged to the Quaker Church. Quakers believed in living simply. They went to plain meeting halls instead of fancy churches. They ate plain food. Dooley had a strict upbringing. She was not allowed to sit with the boys in church or in school. She was not allowed to dance or play cards. The word upbringing means how she was raised as a child. And this picture is a picture of the Quaker meeting around 1790, so the place where they met. When she was young, Dooley Payne loved books. She liked going to school. She had lots of friends. She loved the color yellow. She hoped to get a nice yellow dress, but her parents said no. They were Quakers, and they did not believe in fancy dresses. When Dooley Payne was an adult, she married a man named Mr. Todd. They had a little boy. They were married for a little while. Then Mr. Todd got yellow fever and died. Mrs. Todd was a widow. And a widow means when a husband and wife are married and one of them dies, and so they're left alone. That's what widow means. People told James Madison about Dooley. They said she was smart and charming. He was eager to meet her. Madison was not president at the time, but he was already an important person. He was very smart and serious. James Madison was much older than Dooley Todd. He was also shorter than her, but she liked him anyway. She even had a funny nickname for him. She called him the Great Little Madison. Soon, James Madison asked Dooley Todd to marry him. She had to think about this because he was not a Quaker. But in the end, she said yes. This is Dooley Madison, and this is James Madison. The Madisons were happy together. Dooley was a great help to her husband. When he became president, he had to host fancy state dinners for visitors. Dooley helped him. She was a charming hostess. She welcomed all sorts of visitors to the president's house. There were diplomats and visitors from distant lands. There were Native American chiefs. Dooley Madison always served her ice cream. At the time, ice cream was something new. Lots of people had never tasted it before. When the British marched into Washington, D.C. during the War of 1812, Dooley Madison was very brave. She stayed in the president's house as long as she could. Before she left, she grabbed many important papers. She even helped to save a painting of George Washington. And this has a picture. It says Dooley Madison entertaining visitors at the president's house. And that is the end of the War of 1812. Bye, guys.